I had a video where I talked about how our world is in crisis, and I think there's multiple layers to this. So there's a traditional way of doing things that is very um, agricultural, it's rooted in the past, it's strong on authority, it's often patriarchal. Um, and this way of doing things, I mean, it exists throughout the world today in Asia and Africa and Latin America in different degrees. Um, in Europe and the United States, especially the United States, this older way of doing things was largely demolished and dismantled by a modern, progressive, scientific approach based on science and rationalism. Like it is suspicious of superstition and um, it promotes new ways of doing things. It's not very respectful for tradition. It wants to replace the old ways with new ways that are supposedly based on science. Um, and there are two versions of this modern scientific world. One is the liberal capitalist democracy, and the other is authoritarian communism. And both of these are worlds built on science and technology and industry. They're full of chemicals and machines and electricity. So this is sort of the brave new world that we're living in. Um, but this world itself is now in crisis, having put the old traditional way of doing things in crisis. Now the scientific modern way is in crisis because it's created a world full of anxiety and stress and overstimulation. It's created all of these products that are being, dumped in the garbage, the pollution that's polluting the environment. So not a healthy way of doing things either. So the modern world put the traditional world in crisis and now itself is in crisis. And where do we go from here? So one solution is to try to roll back the clock and go back to an older way of living. But I think that's not really going to work. So in the future, what is our world going to look like? It's going to be something different, both from the past and from what we have now. And all of this impacts religion because religion is based in that older world that is traditional and respectful for authority and does things the way our ancestors did, right? And then that's put in crisis by this technological progress that has, investigations into the history of things and kind of picks apart the Bible and sees how it was written by different people in different times with different values like this. And so the scientific world has put religion into crisis, but now it's in crisis because we can't live this rational scientific way of life the way we thought. Like, it's not going to work. We need something more emotional and more rooted in nature. But you can't necessarily turn the clock back and go back to what we used to have.